are these people?
Kit Knightley from Off Guardian wrote about how the media, and we've been talking about this ad nauseum, I think, for a while, but they, corporate media has been dying. Corporate media has been losing viewership. Corporate media has been losing readership. Corporate media has been seeing that all the authenticity is from the people that are, quote unquote, considered independent. So they started.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Occasionally. Once in a while. Once in a while. But what they want is to capture those viewers and to control the narrative. And what they are starting to try to do is infiltrate the independent space. And it's not even starting. Yeah. It's been happening for a while. So Kit wrote this article I mentioned last week. Kit is also, Off Guardian is a Indie Media Award honoree, Best Outlet. Kit and Off Guardian, I believe, are a member of the Independent Media Alliance with Whitney Webb and Derek Bros and Last American Vagabond and Steve and Hervoye, Morick, and a bunch of other people. Jason Bassler from Free Thought Project, Catherine Austin Fitz from Solari Project. I mean, it's just a line of heavy hitters, top to bottom. Charlie Robinson from Macroaggressions. What Kit writes here is that the old mainstream is dying, and we know that it has been for years. This has only become more apparent in the weeks since Trump was reselected. All right. News that CNN is firing half their workforce, that MSNBC's ratings continue to slump and probably being sold, or at least is on the chopping block, or that The Guardian is leaving Twitter and in financial trouble, are all greeted with celebratory memes, right? Newspaper readership. Yeah. We know newspaper readership has been dropping for decades, and TV news channels are struggling to drum up the audience of a moderately popular YouTube channel featuring cute cat videos set to quirky music. I remember that will be on both. Chris Legion, our brother Chris Legion, wrote a paragraph about his Why I Left the Left, and it specifically talked about how people that make the most obscure channels with shit that you'd never think about get more views than some channels get in a month on one stupid video. And he said, you know what? That's all good stuff. CNN, MSNBC, The Guardian, as we saw before, and all of them, they deserve to go under. Digital communication has allowed people to undermine and overthrow decades-old propaganda outlets. But does that mean it's over? Is Elon Musk actually correct when he reassuringly declares on X that you are the media now? Which is really funny because I frequently, when I tell my wife a story and something about news that's happening right now, before she sees it on her phone and it breaks and she gets an alert, and I pointed to her and I go, I am the media now. And
look at me.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the media now. That's right. Well, the answer to that depends on whether or not you think the same forces that spent untold resources constructing this system of information control are just going to give up and go home when it starts to fail. I mean, does anyone seriously think that they would? You don't think it's rather more likely that they'll just regroup, recalculate, and go again? Remember, newspapers and TV channels are functionaries of the establishment, not the establishment itself. For several centuries. Give or take. Well, in some cases, right. They are both, but usually the propagandists are separate. They're not the establishment. For several centuries, they've been crucial to selling ideas and agendas, but they're a voice, not a brain. They're a tool of control, and tools can easily be swapped out. One way or another, the internet has replaced television as the media. Yep, one way or another.
Or another.
Thank you. Just as television replaced radio and radio replaced print. This is the Darwinism selection process that flows with the development of technology. And while each step of that path has in some ways led to the democratization of the media landscape, each step also saw those in power adjust their methods to the freer flow of information. The quote-unquote free internet is just as vulnerable to money and influence of the elite as the quote-unquote free press was before it, only the tactics change. They buy influencers instead of buying journalists.
Mm-hmm.
In short, the mainstream media
built
isn't...
his own printing presses.
Right. The mainstream media isn't so much as dying as evolving. Today, if you want to sell a story to the whole world, you don't need blaring red breaking news banners on the 10 o'clock news. You can fund an independent... You can just fund an independent podcaster to interview a whistleblower on a set decorated to look impromptu and stripped down. You pay YouTube to boost the video or make a few short clips to go viral. When it's popular enough, other YouTubers and podcasters will start repeating it or posting reaction videos. It doesn't even matter if they agree or they disagree. Either way, you've set the parameters of the discussion. Instead of full pages ads in the New York Times, NGOs, think tanks, and corporations can spend the same amount of money on a few thousand social media influencers. Think about how much a full page ad in the New York Times costs on a Sunday. It's like $70,000 for a business. You know how much influence over a month that can buy? How much propaganda? Holy shit.
Two influences. Exactly. Just two. No more, no less.
No, it's a lot more than that because that's $70,000 for one day on a Sunday for a full page ad. All right. I'm talking about over the course of a month. Sunday. But multiply that just out by 4. That's 280,000 just for the Sundays. All right. And spread that out where they're paying, say, $10,000 a month to a Harry Sisson. That's an army of influencers. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
After a certain point, it's self-propagating. People want the trickle-down advertising revenue. Everyone wants those clicks, and nobody wants to be left out. Bot-filled audiences will post, please give us your take on current thing in the comments of channels or pages who don't take part until they cave and
think of that.
Join the throng to please their audience. All right?
Yep.
Not only is this a relatively cheap method of narrative control, it's also one that few people have learned to be skeptical about as yet. Of the growing numbers of media consumers who've become sophisticated enough to take legacy media stories with a pinch of salt, most will be inclined to be more trusting of seemingly organic trends voiced by seemingly organic people. Tucker gave up all that money and he's fighting the system, man. He's fighting for
They're
us.
made of meat. Organic people. They're made of meat.
But of course, though we're conditioned to believe a trending hashtag has an inherent organic sincerity that the front page of the Washington Post lacks, this isn't the case. They can both be equally media marketing strategies. Don't forget.
I was watching last night the Ultimate Fighting Championships
On Russian Link.
As we do. Russian Link, as we do, yes. There was a commercial for, I think, what is it? Rocket Finance or whatever.
Rocket Mortgage, yep.
Which I've seen a ton of commercials for that. But it was interesting to me because it was like one of those, guy comes up to person on the street with phone and microphone and like, what do you know about bip 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 bip? You gonna hawk tool on that thing? Like it was like that kind of, but like as a television commercial.
Yep.
Like they're learning. They're learning that that's what people think is authentic. And running with that.
Right. So don't forget, most social media platforms are owned by the same handful of financiers and hedge funds that own CNN and The Guardian and Fox News and all the rest. They're advertising clouds, hosting as many or more bought and paid for voices as real people. Literally, Rumble calls what they're hosting the Rumble Cloud. Propaganda is no longer a case of one authoritative voice speaking to a captive audience, but rather a bird swarm of bot noise, creating a potentially very manipulative and manipulated impression of consensus. Alongside that, we have the rise of major and well-funded independent voices that are almost certainly anything but Patrick Bet David or Ian Carroll or Mario Awful or Dom Lucre.
If we can save the banks, then we can save the world.
So let's actually take a look at the alternative media landscape right now, quote unquote alternative media. At the top end, we have Tucker Carlson broadcasting on X Live to a far bigger audience than has watched on Fox News for years. We have Joe Rogan accepting $250 million packages from huge media conglomerates to broadcast his show to millions of people. We have Nigel Farage on GB News. All right, GBBs, a channel that didn't even exist 5 years ago, already surpassing the audience of Sky News and the BBC. It reminds me of kind of like The Hill and News Nation, which are now getting better ratings by far than CNN and News Nation didn't exist 5 years ago. We have Russell Brand and Candace Owens and Rory Stewart and perhaps dozens of other former mainstream voices podcasting away, giving us their personal takes from their deliberately informal-looking studios.
Oh, Hannity!
Oh, Tucker!
Oh, Judge Janine!
Oh, Steve Ducey!
Who's that terrible blonde lady whose own family hates her?
Laura Ingram!
Oh, Laura Ingram! Yes!
We have the richest man in the world supposedly devoting his time to posting memes to own the libs. All that guy does is shitpost all day on his own fucking app. What do words like alternative and indie even mean anymore when applied to people like this? This is what I've been saying, is that they have occupied and co-opted the name, just like they co-opted the word progressive. And I literally wrote this in my article last week in my origin story, how they co-opted the word progressive. They're now trying to co-opt the word independent and alternative. He says, I believe it was David Icke who coined the term mainstream alternative media to describe this phenomenon, but that phrase may already have aged into inaccuracy. After all, if they already have more viewers than CNN and more money than The Guardian, in what way are they any longer alternative? In fact, aren't they the new mainstream? And
sorry. What?
Yeah. And membership of this new mainstream is going to be just as exclusive as it was of old. You can be sure that none of us in the lower alt echelons need apply.
Carlin, chapter 3, verse 2.
That's right. They say the medium is the message, but they're wrong. The message is the message. The medium is just the medium. The platform. Your favorite word, platform. The delicious sugar coating that makes the blue pill so easy to swallow and then makes your dick hard for 4 hours. And then you have to see a doctor. But, sorry, wrong show. Tucker Carlson can be paid to lie to you just as easily as on Twitter as on Fox News or MSNBC. Trending hashtags are just a new way to propagandize your brain that you haven't quite caught on to yet. The mainstream media is dead. Long live the mainstream media. Now, the
Keep
other
in
half.
mind,
Go ahead.
The internet runs on engagement. It's clicks and views. That's what they bring to their shareholders.
And fighting.
That's what they show them. So it doesn't matter whether you're calling them out or they get what they want.
Your attention.
Eyeballs looking at it.
They want your attention.
So,
and every time you give it to them, every time you watch that stupid clip, every time you make that stupid clip of somebody, you're giving them the attention as well as taking the attention off of a real independent.
So instead, engage with the ones you want people to see more of.
And
Pretty simple.
That will also, by the way, as Reef continuously tells you, it helps you condition your news feed so that you're getting a better quality feed. And after a while, you don't even see these morons, especially when you block them and you use the muted keywords like we do.
Fantastic.
All right. Highly recommended. All right. You can curate your news feed to make it look the way you need it to look and that you want it to look.
Bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Now, I wanted to bring this other port because not only is the corporate media now become the mainstream, the internet media, corporate media moved to the internet, just still mainstream, in order to replace and maintain those eyeballs and make sure that nobody is looking at the actual independents. Well, how are they going to do that? Well, they've taken on a multitude of ways of censoring independents, but this is a new one, sort of. They've done this before. They've been doing it to Garland Nixon now for the better part of a year. And now Cathy Vogan from Consortium News has also had her account permanently suspended on Twitter X. Mary Kostakidis, very famous in Australia. She used to be a broadcaster similar like a Dan Rather, but she spectacularly made this speech denouncing the mainstream corporate media as sexist, and she had almost 20 years ago and has been an independent ever since. She's shunned completely by corporate media at this point. She tweeted out the other day, I cannot understand why Twitter has banned permanently Cathy, nor can she. She's been exceptionally careful in her posts. She's a professional who's been using Twitter for many years to report and share hers and others' journalism. Simply stating for violating X rules isn't enough support. How? What did she do? And why not give her an opportunity to fix whatever your algorithm has identified as so problematic so as not to suspend her account, but a long history of work that is now inaccessible to her? What they've done is not just about silencing her and isolating her from all her friends and professional contacts as a journalist. The permanent suspension extends not only into the future, but 15 years into the past. All the tweets history that she had is gone. They've erased all of my reporting, my thoughts, and my creative works from the historical record. It seems they're preventing me from retrieving it. Really, this is very bad for the reputation. But look at all that free speech. Look at all that free speech, right, Elon? This, by the way,
much free speech, much wow.
I posted back on November 26th that it had been 3 weeks. And Cathy had posted on her Facebook page that she had been locked out for 16 days. And what they're saying is a technical issue. This is before it was permanently suspended. But then there were too many times that she didn't pass the Arcros challenge and she got the error message after doing it. All right. For some unusual activity. And this is the unusual activity, is her trying to log into her own account. Insane. Consortium also wrote an article about this that I will include in the description after post, but I wanted to make mention, and most people don't even realize, Cathy is the executive producer for CN Live, which is the video stream for Consortium News. She's a great supporter of INN and good friend of Misty's, as well as, great Assange supporter. And I think a lot of what they're trying to erase is the historical record about the people who spoke out openly about supporting Assange. One by one, systematically, we're all getting erased. Our timelines are being erased. All right? Yeah, they locked him out for the same something went wrong and then prove you're a human scam. Bullshit. All right? And nobody seems to want to fix this problem. All right? So that's Consortium News under attack, and independent media under attack from corporate media, because this is a battle for your attention. Straight up. They want to get your attention. They want to squirrel you. They want to distract you from listening to anybody who's trying to debunk and to tell you what they're actually up to. We really appreciate everyone for being here and for supporting INN and independent media. TYT, funded by Jeffrey Katzenberg. INN funded by you, everyone. And they can say they're funded by you, but they've got their corporate donors. Yeah. We do not. We've got you. We've got these people that are on that board. We've got Sean Miller, who hooks us up weekly. We got Charlie Mack, who hooks us up weekly. We got Anna Mayers, who hooks us up all the time. Kameshwari Kate hooked us up huge. Natalie Williams, oh my God, love you so much. Golden, like there's so many great people on this list that are supporting this. Dr. Nick, Bad Cookies, Brett Wilkins, an Indie Media Award honoree on the list. And it looks like we got a founding member to Indie Media tonight. Thank you so much. Who was it? Let's see. New paid subscriber. We just got it on the books. And it is Kameshwari Kate. Thank you so much, Kate. You're the best. I love you. The Guardian is getting funding from Bill Gates, but we're not. So because of that, we rely on you. We are completely user funded, as well as, you know, ourselves, that we can, whatever we can afford to put into this as well. But anything you can do to help would really be, great. Really appreciate that. We got some more support this week from a bunch of people, and that's awesome. We are so close to being able to pay off our Zago friends, and then we can pay off the Restream bill, which is the big one for the year. That's coming at the end of the month. And then we get into 2025 bills so that we can then do some really cool, fun stuff for the network and start helping some other people do some mutual aid stuff. The links to do so are right here. So if you are unable to totally get it, enjoy the stream, share the content, please, if you can, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, let people know about INN and let people know about this show. It really helps. And they can download it in podcasts and they can watch it on basically every platform, either live or on replay. We leave all the VODs up and we do clips via newsletter. There's a ton of ways to get the content. But these are the amazing people that have already supported INN. We love you. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, Patreon, and a monthly you can do at Patreon or at the INNnewsletter.com, which you can see down there. Somewhere down at the bottom, you'll see in a second. If you can, we love you all. And all these people have already taken care of INN the best they could and reached into their pockets and thrown a couple of bucks toward the network and toward the independent media they want to see. We don't have corporate funding. We have you. The easiest ways to do that are with Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, and Patreon. We have the INN newsletter, which you can subscribe to monthly or annually. We also, by the way, have some new merch at indienews.shop, INDIE news.shop. You'll see that in the scrolling ticker as well. So you can pick up merch and support us in that way as well. Hannah, I know, ordered a couple tank tops. Cookie said that he ordered a beanie, which I can't wait for him to run around with an INN beanie. Because God forbid anybody else had a narrative that's different from theirs. It's a real problem. So therefore, please support INN, support independent media, support the people that are countering that narrative, because it's everywhere, man. Thank you to everyone, really, for supporting independent media. We show this link one more time, this page one more time with the links. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, Patreon, if you're able to. Also, INNnewsletter.com, you see there, and at the merch at indienews.shop, where you can pick up t-shirts and tank tops and beanies and all of your merch Christmassy needs. And if there's something that you want to see that I haven't made, that we haven't made merch-wise, I'm willing to do that too. Just tell me what you want to see and I can make it. Support independent media because we need it more than...
There you go.
What? Oh, my thing, right. Support independent media. We need it more than ever. I love you all, and I really appreciate all of you.